Assalamualaikum. I hope everyone here in a good health. Today we would like to share the study on resilience in the time of pandemic, the experience of risk group at Kuching Sarawak during dispersals of COVID-19 virus. Before I extend further, let me share the theme for today's presentation is myself, Norazreen Supiee. I am currently in the final semester of my Master Corporate Communication with Open University Malaysia, and my team member, Dr. Kamaruzaman Biadul Mainan, from the University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. The reason why we chose this topic because we think that there is a significant interference in nearly all human life aspects due to the COVID-19, and the elderly and individual with chronic illness are identified as a risk group of COVID-19. At the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak last year, about 80.7% of disease involves those suffering from chronic illnesses, and in the initial group of the fatality happened in Malaysia. About 17 deaths were female, aged between 23 to 91, with an average age of 65. We chose the resilient theory for this study because it can explain how individuals cope with the harmful effects of COVID-19. The problem statement for these studies are include, as we all know here, even though we have almost achieved 100% vaccination rate in our country, but the virus are still growing globally. Of course, the main challenging part for this virus, it causes fear and sufferings among our people, particularly among the risk group. It also affects our life, social life, livelihoods, and also it put our immune system under the intensified pressure. Like I mentioned just now, we chose the resilient theory because we find that there is a lack of research on the resilience of risk group. For this study, we have identified two objectives. The first one is to measure the level of knowledge, family support, media exposure, optimistic thinking, behavior intentions, and resilience of risk group. And the second one is to measure the relationship between knowledge, family support, media exposure, optimistic thinking, behavior intentions, and resilience of risk group. Before I explain further the research finding, let me share a little bit about the resilient theory. Of course, we will touch on the history first. As we all know, I believe most of us here, the theory has exists more than half century ago, and the first research in resilience was published in 1973. According to Zilazzo, the theory describes how some individuals manage well in adversity while others need to struggle. It's also seeking to encourage strength in individual, groups, society, or peoples categorized as a risk group. Based on past study or the literature review that have been done for this study, it was found that the theory used is to focus on mental health and children resilient in the pandemic. For example, a study by Marchini et al. It revealed a high increase in mental health care needs among youth during the lockdown. And Rister and Speechley also emphasized with the resilient theory that vulnerable older people are those most affected by COVID-19. Resilient and COVID-19 virus. People are likely to experience fear, anxiety, and worry if they or family members are exposed to the virus. Resilience can help people to get through and overcome the hardship caused by COVID-19. And we feel it is crucial to understand and predict the factors that may influence resilience among the risk group during the dispersal of COVID-19. In this case, the elderly and the individual with chronic illness in Kuching. As for the hypothesis, based on the literature, we have identified six hypotheses. The first one is knowledge has a positive relationship with behavior intention. Hypothesis 2, family support has a positive relationship with behavior intention. Hypothesis 3, media exposure has positive relationship with behavior intention. Hypothesis 4, optimistic thinking has a positive relationship with behavior intention. Hypothesis 5, optimistic thinking has positive relationship with resilience. And the final hypothesis is behavior intention has a positive relationship with resilience. The research methodology used for this study is a survey as a method and distribution of online questionnaire as instrument for data collection. For this study, we are using the Google questionnaire, and a total of 492 responses were recorded, out of which 340 is usable data. Data was collected from 27 June until 31st July, and the respondents are the elderly and individuals with chronic illness in Kuching. Demographic profile of respondent. As you can see, we have more female respondents compared to the male, and in terms of age, mostly are from the 31 to 40 years old category, followed by 41 to 50 years and 61 years and above, 51 to 60 years old, and the final one will be 20 to 30 years old. In terms of highest education level, most of them are bachelor degree holder, followed by certificate or diploma, secondary school, master, primary school, doctorate, and others. As for the risk group category, most of them are the high blood pressure patient, followed by diabetes patient, followed by 61 years and above, weakened immune system, cardiovascular disease patient, chronic respiratory disease patient, pregnant woman, others, and we also have a cancer patient as our respondent for this study. One sympathy test has been used to measure the level of knowledge, family support, media exposure, optimistic thinking, behavior tensions, and resilience of the risk group in Kuching. As you can see on the screen, it shows that the high levels of knowledge, family support, media exposure, optimistic thinking, behavior intentions, and resilience. Another method that we use for this study to study the relationship between the variable is zero-order correlation. We can see that knowledge have a strong relationship with the behavior intention. Family support have strong relationship with behavior intention. Media exposure also have a strong relationship with behavior intention. Optimistic thinking have the strong relationship with behavior intention, as well as the resilient and behavior intention itself also have a strong relationship with the resilience. This study has revealed that showing to us that mostly of the respondents are aware that individuals with chronic illness and elderly are at higher risk of contracting the COVID-19 virus. It also proved that the target high-risk group has a piece of proper knowledge about the COVID-19 virus. But this study also found a knowledge gap regarding whether infected individual can recover without special treatment. Maybe because there's a less news on how the COVID-19 patient has recover. Have cure from the virus itself. In terms of family support, the second variable, most of the respondents has agreed that the family support is important during the health crisis and crucial to encourage resilience among the risk group. It also revealed that the family member shows more care and constantly remind them to keep the standard operating procedure. The third variables, media exposure. Most of the respondents monitor the latest COVID-19 case through news reports and television. They also obtain the COVID-19 news from social media. And the most interesting part is this study reveals that there's a law mean for surfing the Ministry of Health Malaysia website to get the latest update on COVID-19 virus, even though we know that the ministry has provided the up-to-date information about COVID in their website. The fourth variable is optimistic thinking. Most of the respondents has the ability to adjust to a life of new norms, thereby rendering high level of optimistic thinking. They believe the COVID-19 vaccine is safe, but they're still unsure on how to find peace of mind and achieve life goals during the COVID-19. Maybe partly because they think that with the current situation, it's not easy for them to be out there to do the normal thing that they need to do to achieve the main goals of their life for these 2 years. Behavior intention. In terms of behavior intention, the respondents, most of them intend to take the COVID-19 vaccination, and it lead to their action to protect the family and themselves from COVID-19 infection. But the study reveals that most of them is unable to avoid the crowded place. This one is maybe partly because of the environment itself. Like for example, they need to do grocery for the main family. They need to do the medical checkup, the routine, which they can avoid to be at a crowded place, or they need to go out to do work, to perform tasks. Like for example, the frontliners, they do not have a choice to avoid the crowded place. For the final variable, which is resilient, most of the respondents have never been infected with the COVID-19 virus, and this study also revealed that mostly feel less intense even though they have high knowledge about the COVID-19 virus and enough support from family or exposure to media reports. But somehow it has lowered down their motivation to stay strong because due to the social distancing, everything they need to do now have to be boundaries. There is a limitation for them to be more socialized and going to somewhere. Like for example, now we have travel restriction. We can't go to Previously, we can go to inter-district, interstate, and now still pending for international trip. Like for example, myself, if previously I travel almost every month due to my work responsibilities. But now I have been not flying for 2 years. So that's another reason why maybe the respondent have less motivation to stay strong. For the suggestion of this study, to so that we can have better findings, so it is suggested for a researcher out there, students or anyone out there, to conduct a similar research with a different theory, such as a theory of planned behavior. Also to consider to involve other districts in Sarawak or other state in Malaysia, and different categories of risk group to amplify the range of high risk group in Malaysia. This consequently can draw a good comparison than risk group from one district only. Also to consider additional statistical software such as AMOS software. To conclude today's presentation, I would like to highlight here, there is a significant correlation between knowledge, family support, media exposure, optimistic thinking with behavior, intention, and resilience. There is high level of knowledge, family support, media exposure, optimistic thinking, behavior, intention, and resilience. And the use of resilient theory denotes that the ability of other people and individual with chronic illness to protect themselves and their family members from the COVID-19 virus. I guess that's all from me. Thank you so much for your time. So if you have any queries pertaining to this presentation, you can just contact us, myself or Dr. Kamaruzaman, at our email address or our mobile number. Thank you and have a nice day. Take care and stay vigilant.